Frankenstein by Mary Shelley takes place in Switzerland in the 1700s. It is about a scientist named Victor Frankenstein who creates a monster and brings it to life. When the monster is finally brought to life, it finds it difficult to fit into a society full of humans. After numerous failed attempts of trying to feel that sense of belonging in the world, the monster becomes very angry with Victor for even creating him in the first place. Because of this, the monster decides to take revenge on Victor and kill his family, one by one. As a result of the murder of his family, Victor decides to go on a journey to hunt down and kill the monster he created once and for all. The monster leads him to the icy waters of the Arctic. Up there, Victor gets very ill and cannot continue on the rest of his journey to hunt down the monster. Fortunately, a ship nearby spots Victor and picks him up. However, despite the efforts of the crew of the captain to improve Victor's health, he ended up dying on the ship. There are many themes that could be interpreted from the novel, but the one that stuck out the most was isolation. Throughout the novel, there are many examples of this theme. For instance, Victor is constantly isolated from his family. He never sees them. He is alone when he creates the monster. He is alone when he chases the monster and tries to kill it. And he is alone when he dies. He's surrounded by men, but he is surrounded by men he doesn't know. Another example of this theme is the monster itself. It is constantly being denied a sense of belonging in the world by society due to its wretched appearance. These two characters also die at the end of the novel. Victor dies from his illness, and the monster runs away, declaring he will kill himself due to his actions. From this, I believe the overall message the author is trying to convey to the reader is that both physical and emotional destruction are the result of isolation. These two characters, Victor and the monster he creates, are the two main characters of the novel. In the very beginning, Victor is very youthful and curious. However, after he creates the monster, anxiety and loss age him. Personality traits Victor displays throughout the novel are ambition and perseverance. These traits are shown when Victor would not rest until the monster was created, and then later in the story, when Victor would go weeks on end chasing the monster to try and kill him, despite his poor physical and emotional health. A flaw that Victor possesses that affects the outcome of the story is his inability to effectively communicate with his family. He never told his family about his creation and that the monster that he created was out to kill them. If he would have done so, his family would have been prepared and maybe even stayed alive. On the other hand, the monster was physically wretched. According to Victor, he was 8 feet tall and hideously ugly. Emotionally, however, the monster was very caring deep down. This was shown when the monster tried to help a family in need by cutting them firewood, and also in the very end of the novel when he went and visited the ship where Victor had died to apologize for what he has done. A flaw that the monster had that affected the end of the story was his temper. He got very mad or offended easily when somebody got scared of him. Instead of being able to understand why and take a step back and look at the whole picture, he flew off the handle. If the monster would have been more understanding, then Victor's family members may not have been killed. And in the end, Victor wouldn't have gone on the journey and he wouldn't have died. The plot of the novel is very interesting. The captain of the ship who discovers Victor and takes him aboard is named Robert Walton. In the exposition of the story, we read Walton's letters to his sister, both about himself and, more importantly, Victor. These events are part of the exposition because they give background information on key characters to the story. The rising action of the story is actually a group of events. The first is when Victor creates the monster. The second is when the monster kills Victor's little brother, and the third is when the monster tries to persuade Victor to create another monster, and then Victor doesn't. All of these events are the rising action of the story because they build towards the main point of interest. The climax is the most intense point in any novel. In this case, it is definitely when the monster kills Victor's wife, Elizabeth. Next is the falling action. The falling action is right after the climax and right before the ending. This is when Victor goes on the journey to chase the monster. And finally, the resolution. The resolution is the solution, or the ending, of the story. The resolution in Frankenstein is when the ship and the crew members find Victor in the Arctic, ill. And finally, when Victor dies on the boat. Overall, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley is a classic. It exemplifies the language used during that time period with words such as shall or thou. In addition, I think the novel has a lot of literary worth. It is very interesting, suspenseful, and dramatic. The creation of the monster and the murder of Victor's wife are just two examples of these traits the novel displays. Society today tends to be interested in novels with those traits. That is why, even though this story is older, it would be valued by many.